HSP, highly sensitive person. What does that mean? Highly sensitive child. What does that mean? A brilliant lady named Elaine Aron in 1991 coined this term, highly sensitive person. And what she did is she helped 1 in 5 people finally understand who they are and how they function. She gave a gift to so many of us, and I'm one of them. I'm one of them that has benefited from all of the wonderful work that she has done to actually help essentially categorize and create understanding around this subset of our population. You see, us HSPs, and you may be one of them, or you may have a child who is one of them, we're wired differently. We notice more things. We take in more information. We're more sensitive. We're more aware, which is not always a good thing. Because having all of these things, which could be gifts, and these are the things that have allowed me to create Holistic Minds. It's all the things that have had me keep driving to understand what makes me tick, what makes the children that I work with tick, why they suffer. HSPs, HSCs, through their wiring also have a curse in a way. Because there's a spectrum. There are those who are just sensitive, but they can function just fine. They can be in most environments, not a big deal. At some point, they get overwhelmed and they just, go on their way. And that's kind of where I am. I'm kind of in the middle. Example, for my own wedding, there was a period of time that literally my brain was just going completely haywire. And after 4 hours of music, loud music, and interacting with everyone, all I wanted to do was retreat. All I wanted to do was just go. So I can handle most social environments just fine. I can be amongst other people just fine. Noise does bother me. Loud, crowded spaces do bother me, but I'm okay. There's also a spectrum where the sensitivity can actually become a disorder. And this is one of the things that Elaine doesn't talk about. And this is where I actually disagree with her. Because she has normalized this, which is good. But it's also bad because we also call those who suffer as they're sensitive. And that's not true. It's not true because there are things we can do to help. There are things we can do to actually change the sensitivity so it becomes a milder version. You're still yourself. We don't change anything about the person. We just change the severity and intensity of how they experience the world. You see, in the last 15, 20 years, the occupational therapists, led by this gal named Jane Miller, actually have discovered that there is actually such a thing called sensory processing disorder, which is basically an issue with how our brain processes information from the world around us. So you think about it. We take in information through our eyes. We take in information from our ears. We take in information tactile, our skin, and also our vestibular system, which is basically how we are in three-dimensional space, how we are located with our environment. Our brain is constantly taking all this information in. And if there's a disorder, if there is an imbalance in the middle ear, in the eyes, the ears, if there's any misfiring, any poor connection, any static in that information, how the information goes in. So we have normal hearing, we have normal vision, everything is normal by conventional standards. And this is the part that's been really difficult for most people to wrap their heads around it. You check the eyes, it's fine. Check the hearing, it's fine. It's how the brain ultimately takes this information in and processes it that's not always fine. And that's where the struggles come in. That's where the difficulty comes in. That's where the suffering comes in. And why I'm doing this, why I'm creating this video, is I can't tell you how many children I've worked with where when I ask the parents, I'm like, so how does Susie do in the playground? Oh, Susie avoids the playground. How does Johnny do in the jungle gym? Oh, no. Johnny avoids the other kids because it just bothers them. So he prefers to play by himself. He's the quiet child. He's the indoor child. He's the thinker. We throw these terms at these kids because we want to normalize what's happening to them. But when you think about it, Why would a 5-year-old not want to be in the playground running with all the other kids? Why would they not want to be engaging and screaming and playing and be wholeheartedly engaged with other children? There's a reason for that. It's because they can't handle it. It's because they become overwhelmed. They withdraw because they need to protect themselves. And why would we normalize this when our occupational therapists have the tools to actually rewire the brain and help these children be comfortable? Because, it's not just them playing in the playground. It's not just them being able to engage with other children. It turns out that 25% of ADD, at least in my experience, is a sensory processing disorder. And we put these kids on medications, except when you really drill down into it, 1 in 4 children that are labeled with ADD, ADHD actually cannot process information. And so they can't focus, they can't concentrate, they have learning disabilities, they can't read well, they struggle with writing, even though they're brilliant. These are all processing disorders that could be fixed, that could be helped. And it's not because these children are broken. It's because they have something that limits them from experiencing life fully. It limits them from being able to reach their maximum capacity. And why I disagree with Elaine is because when we normalize this, we say, well, this handicap is okay. It just needs to be there. It's fine. The kid will ultimately do fine. And yes, they will do fine. But then it becomes part of that child's identity that I can't read well. I just don't do well in crowded spaces. And that's their self-image, which is what we've done to society. And again, it's not that all kids are on this extreme, but I would also venture and say that more kids are in this part of the spectrum than we realize. And it is not us doing any justice to this population to say everything is normal when there's this much suffering that's happening and we can do something about it. In future videos, I'm also going to talk about how HSPs have inflammatory issues, biochemical issues, nutritional deficiencies that can ultimately wreak havoc on the brain. Because when our neurochemistry is not balanced, when our braking systems don't work, that also causes a further irritation and exacerbation, and we need to be aware of all of this. So I want to share this with you because there's too many people that are labeled as, well, that's just how they are. He's just an indoor child. He just likes to play quietly. He's ADD. And we're just labeling these things. We're normalizing these things because we don't have any way of understanding it, except there's so much information out there when we know how to tap into it. And that's what I want to give you. I want you to be able to tap into this information. I want you to share this information with other people. Because these kids don't need to suffer. Adults don't need to suffer. And we have the tools out there. There's incredible therapists that are doing incredible work. And it would blow your mind if you actually could see what these OTs, these vision therapists, these auditory therapists are doing. It would blow your mind. And I'm lucky enough to see their work. And every day I have kids come back and the mom's like, yeah, he just jumped 4 grade levels. Oh, he's no longer ADD. He's sitting in the classroom focusing perfectly. Oh, he's running into the playground and playing with other kids for the first time. I don't know what happened. These are all possibilities. And these are possibilities that then change the child's life for the rest of their life. Let's make the world a brighter place for these kids. So share this information, please. And hang out because soon we'll have another video talking about these other elements of HSPs. Thanks for listening. This is Dr. K from Holistic Minds.